The year is 2800 BC. A Babylonian clay tablet, discovered by archaeologists in modern-day Iraq, records a formula so simple it barely fills 3 lines. Fat, ash, water. That was it. 3 ingredients that cleaned the robes of priests, the tunics of soldiers, and the swaddling cloth of newborns across one of the most advanced civilizations the ancient world had ever produced. 4,800 years later, you are standing in the laundry aisle of a Target store in suburban America, holding a bright orange jug of Tide that weighs 6 pounds and costs $26.99. You put it in your cart because you have always put it in your cart. Because the commercials told you it works. Because you genuinely cannot imagine what else you would use. Here is what nobody on that label will ever tell you. The active chemistry inside that $27 bottle, the part that actually removes dirt and odor from your clothes, is not meaningfully different from what those Babylonian priests were using almost 5,000 years ago. The core compounds are older than the Roman Empire. They grow in the ground, they require no laboratory, they cost almost nothing, and a single batch made from 3 ingredients you can buy at any grocery store for about $20 will clean your laundry for an entire year. The American laundry detergent market was valued at just under $20 billion in 2025. That number is projected to climb every single year through 2034. That number depends entirely on you never doing the math on what you're actually buying. Today, we are going to do the math. This vault has been sealed for a long time, and it starts in ancient Babylon. Before we talk about what is inside your laundry detergent today, you need to understand what human beings were using to clean fabric for roughly 47 centuries before the first synthetic detergent ever existed. The Babylonian formula, fat boiled with ashes, was not guesswork. It was the accidental discovery of a chemical reaction called saponification. When you heat animal or plant fat in the presence of a strong alkali, the molecules break apart and reassemble into something entirely new, a compound with one end that bonds to water and another end that bonds to oil and grease. This dual-sided molecule is what we call soap. It is what physically lifts dirt from fabric and suspends it in rinse water so it washes away. The ancient Egyptians refined this. The Ebers Papyrus, a medical document dating to approximately 1500 BC, records the combination of alkaline salts with animal and vegetable fats to create a cleaning material. But Egyptian laundresses along the Nile used something even simpler for washing clothing. They used natron, a naturally occurring mineral salt that forms white crystalline deposits in dry lake beds throughout the Egyptian desert. Natron is sodium carbonate. You know it today as washing soda, the same compound, different packaging, an infinite gulf in price. The Romans built on this. According to historical accounts that appear in ancient sources, women washing clothes in the Tiber River near the base of a hillside used the ash and fat residue deposited by rainwater flowing down from ritual fires above. They noticed that this particular clay cleaned fabric with far less effort than plain water. The hill was later called Mount Sapo, and from that name came the Latin word sapo, soap. The Roman word for the compound that does the cleaning in your washing machine today was literally named after an accidental outdoor laundry experiment 2,000 years ago. Move further east, and the pattern repeats. Arab traders across the medieval Middle East were producing hard soap bars from olive oil and plant ash by 800 AD. Crusaders brought the technique back to Europe. By the 1700s, soap made from fat and ash-derived lye was the standard cleaning material for fabric across the entire Western world. Now, ask yourself this. If billions of people across dozens of civilizations cleaned their clothing effectively with the same basic chemistry for nearly 5,000 years, what changed in 1946? The answer is not science. The answer is war. When World War I erupted in 1914, the global supply of animal and vegetable fats collapsed. Fats were needed for explosives. Glycerin, a byproduct of soap making, was a critical ingredient in nitroglycerin. Governments and military suppliers had first claim on the raw materials that soap had always depended on. By the second year of the war, soap production in Germany and much of Europe had dropped catastrophically. German chemists, facing a critical shortage of cleaning agents for military laundries and hospitals, were forced to synthesize a substitute from petrochemicals, coal tar derivatives, that could mimic the molecular behavior of natural soap without requiring a single ounce of animal fat. They called these new compounds synthetic detergents. They worked adequately. They were born entirely from necessity, not superiority. And when the war ended, the factories that had been built to produce them had no market and enormous capacity. The same pattern repeated on a larger scale after World War II. The petrochemical industry in the United States had expanded dramatically during the war years to support military operations. Companies like Procter & Gamble had been deep in materials research throughout the conflict. In 1946, 1 year after the war ended, P&G launched Tide, the first heavy-duty synthetic detergent marketed to American households. The American Chemical Society has designated its development a National Historic Chemical Landmark. Here's the part that deserves your full attention. The primary active ingredients in that first bottle of Tide were synthetic surfactants derived from petroleum. Not because petroleum-derived surfactants clean better than natural soap and washing soda. The historical record does not support that claim. But because P&G had the manufacturing infrastructure, the distribution network, and the marketing budget to build a consumer habit around a product that required constant repurchase, came in an eye-catching branded container, and could be produced at a fraction of its retail cost. The profit margins in commercial detergent manufacturing run between 30 and 100% or higher, depending on the product. Industry researchers have documented this openly. You're not paying $27 for $27 worth of cleaning chemistry. You're paying $27 for roughly $3 to $5 of active ingredients, plus water, plus synthetic fragrance, plus the orange plastic bottle, plus the marketing campaign that convinced your parents to buy it. Who convinced you? In September 2025, Procter & Gamble announced what they called the biggest upgrade to Tide's original liquid formula in over 20 years. The press release described, quote, breakthrough stain removal, whitening, brightening, and longer-lasting freshness. Consumer spending data shows Americans bought it at the same or higher prices without a second thought. The ancient chemistry, sitting on the bottom shelf of the same store, sold without a mascot or a jingle, cost pennies per load, and removed the same stains by the same molecular mechanism it has used since the Nile Delta. Before you make this yourself, you should understand exactly what each ingredient does. This is not complicated chemistry. This is the same chemistry you were taught in middle school, applied to laundry. Washing soda, also called sodium carbonate, is the descendant of the natron Egyptian laundresses used on the banks of the Nile. It is a highly alkaline compound. When dissolved in water, it dramatically raises the pH of the wash cycle, which does two critical things simultaneously. First, it weakens the chemical bonds between dirt, grease, and fabric fibers, making soil far easier to dislodge. Second, it softens hard water by binding to the calcium and magnesium minerals that reduce cleaning effectiveness and leave clothes stiff. Hard water is a problem in a majority of American households. Washing soda eliminates it at the source for almost nothing. Borax, sodium borate, has been mined from dry desert lake beds in California since the 1870s. Borax functions as a laundry booster that works alongside washing soda. It further adjusts the pH of the wash water, enhances the performance of soap by creating an alkaline environment where cleaning reactions proceed more completely, and has natural deodorizing properties that neutralize the organic compounds responsible for fabric odor. A box of borax at your local grocery store costs around $4. That box will last you months. Castile soap, or Fell's Naphtha Bar soap, is your actual surfactant. The compound with one water-loving end and one oil-loving end that physically lifts and removes dirt. This is the direct descendant of the Babylonian fat and ash formula, made from plant oils instead of animal fat. It does the same molecular job that Tide's petroleum-derived surfactants do at a fraction of the cost, without the synthetic fragrance compounds, optical brighteners, or stabilizing agents that most commercial detergents add in for shelf life and marketing appeal rather than cleaning performance. Together, these three ingredients replicate the full cleaning mechanism of any commercial detergent. Alkalinity to break soil bonds and soften water. A booster to amplify that alkalinity and neutralize odor. A surfactant to emulsify and lift the loosened dirt. This is what every bottle on that shelf is doing. The difference is what surrounds these ingredients in the commercial version. Water, stabilizers, fragrances, dyes, and the cost of the brand that has been advertised at you since childhood. Here is something worth sitting with for a moment. The three ingredients in this recipe are all available at the same store where you buy commercial detergent. They are often on the same aisle. They are sometimes literally adjacent to the product they replace. So why does almost nobody make this switch? The answer is not ignorance. It is engineering. Not chemical engineering or marketing engineering. A 2020 class action lawsuit filed in the Southern District of New York alleged that Procter & Gamble was marketing Tide Perclean as plant-based when, according to the plaintiffs, it contained petroleum-derived ingredients. That lawsuit is public record. The product continued to sell at premium prices throughout. In a separate documented pattern, consumer advocacy groups have tracked years of complaints about detergent bottles, claiming load counts that independent testing does not support, more marketing architecture built around the same underlying chemistry. The global laundry detergent industry is not growing because detergent is getting better. The American market alone is projected to grow from roughly $19 billion in 2025 to nearly $28 billion by 2034. That growth is not driven by cleaner clothes. It is driven by pods, single-dose detergent packets that cost dramatically more per load than their liquid equivalent, market themselves as convenient, and create a repeat purchase habit even more reliable than the traditional jug. Unit dose pods already represent the largest single product category in online laundry sales. The homemade formula you are about to learn cannot be potted. It cannot be mass branded. It cannot be reformulated with a press release claiming 20 years of innovation. It costs approximately 4 cents per load to produce versus 30 to 40 cents per load for major commercial brands at current retail pricing. The math on a household doing 8 loads of laundry per week, the American average, works out to roughly $200 per year saved by making this switch. You cannot build a $20 billion industry on a formula someone can make in their kitchen in 15 minutes from ingredients that cost $20 total. Before I give you the complete method, one honest note. This formula is excellent for regular household laundry, including cottons, linens, synthetic blends, and most everyday fabrics. For extremely delicate items like wool or silk, use a gentler dedicated formula. And if you have a high efficiency washing machine, this recipe is naturally low sudsing. It will not cause the buildup or excess foam that damages HE machines. It works correctly as written. Here is what you need. You will find all 3 items in the laundry or cleaning aisle of any major grocery store or general merchandise retailer. 1 box of Arm & Hammer superwashing soda, the large size, approximately $4 to $5. This is not baking soda. Do not substitute baking soda. The chemistry is different. Washing soda is sodium carbonate. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. They are not interchangeable for this purpose. 1 box of 20 Mule Team Borax, the standard size, approximately $4 to $5. 1 bar of Fell's Naphtha laundry soap, or alternatively, 1 bar of unscented Castile soap, such as Dr. Bronner's, approximately $1 to $2 per bar. Your total first purchase should run between $10 and $20, depending on local pricing. That is your entire laundry budget for roughly 12 months of regular household use. Here's the method. Using a cheese grater or a box grater over a large mixing bowl, grate the entire bar of soap into fine shavings. The finer the shavings, the more completely they will dissolve in water. If you prefer even finer consistency, let the shavings air dry overnight and then pulse them in a food processor for 30 seconds. This step takes about 5 minutes. To the grated soap, add 1 cup of washing soda and 1 cup of borax. Stir the mixture thoroughly until fully combined. The finished product should be a uniform off-white powder with a faintly soapy scent. Transfer the finished powder to an airtight container, a recycled plastic tub, a glass jar, a sealed bag. Label it so nobody uses it for cooking. Use 1 to 2 tablespoons per load, depending on load size and soil level. For heavily soiled loads or large capacity machines, use 2 tablespoons. For standard loads, 1 tablespoon is sufficient. Add it directly to the drum with your clothing, not to the detergent dispenser. For optional scent, add 5 to 10 drops of your preferred essential oil. Lavender, eucalyptus, and lemon are popular choices, to the dry powder and stir it in. This is purely optional and adds almost nothing to the cost. If your household does 8 loads per week, this recipe at 2 tablespoons per load will produce enough detergent for approximately 6 to 8 months per batch from a single box of each ingredient. Most households find 1 or 2 batches per year covers their entire laundry need. The total annual cost works out to somewhere between $15 and $25. The current average American household spends between $150 and $250 per year on commercial laundry detergent. That is the gap this recipe closes, not with a lab breakthrough, not with a new proprietary formula, with fat, ash, and water, repackaged, slightly refined, and as effective today as it was on the banks of the Nile. The Babylonian scribes who carved that soap formula into clay 4,800 years ago were not primitive. They had solved a problem so elegantly that every civilization that came after them arrived at the same answer independently. The Egyptians found it in natron salt deposits. The Romans found it by accident in the ash and fat washed off a hillside. Arab craftsmen refined it into hard soap bars that crossed the Mediterranean on trade ships. European households used it to clean fabric for centuries without interruption. Then came 1946, a weapons industry in peacetime and a very good marketing department. The $20 billion laundry aisle you walk through every week is not $20 billion of chemistry. It is $20 billion of habit, packaging, and repetition. The same alkalinity that cleans your jeans has been doing so since before the Roman Republic existed. The only thing that has ever changed is the label on the container and the price written underneath it. Today, the Tide bottle on that shelf got a new formula. In 50 years, it will get another new formula. The washing soda will still be sodium carbonate. The borax will still be sodium borate. The soap will still be a surfactant, and a bar of Fell's Naphtha will still cost less than $2. The past is not nostalgia. It is a cost per load calculation that has never once failed. If this video saved you money, share it. Every share is a crack in the wall they built around chemistry that was never theirs to sell. The next vault opens soon, and what is buried inside it will change how you look at the medicine cabinet, the same way this one changed how you look at the laundry aisle.